Hello there, and welcome back to the booth here at Pro Tour Hour of Devastation. That's Luis Scott Vargas. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. Welcome back. We've got a couple more rounds of standard here to bring you, including this one coming, round number 7, where we have William Huey Jensen playing against Pierre Dagen. Both of the players are 5-1, and looks like they're ready. Let's head down to the feature match area for round number 7. And welcome back to coverage here at Pro Tour Hour of Devastation. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Luis Scott Vargas. We're ready for round 7 action, where we've got Pierre Dagen from France. He plays for Team Opportunity. He's on Mono Black Zombie, sitting at 5-1. His opponent from the United States is William Huey Jensen. Plays for Team Puzzle Quest. He is also 5-1, and he's playing Red Green Pummeler. Let's get things underway here. By the way, Luis, I was just having a quick look at the stats from our players, and I noticed something kind of cool. So Jensen, his Pro Tour debut was Pro Tour Rome, 1998.
Yep.
A feisty vet. He has been at it for nearly 20 years out here on the Pro Tour, and he still got it, as he has won the last 2 tournaments he's played in. Huey, as he is known in the Magic community, is he won a team event with his team, the Peach Garden Oath, at the GP level, and then he won Grand Prix Kyoto just last weekend here in Japan.
Yeah, GP Cleveland, the only Grand Prix or tournament I've played at in the last year and a half.
Right.
But luckily my team top-8'd. So.
Yeah, you guys got 6th. Fortunately, we only cut the top 4 at the team level, so a solid finish. I'm not trying to take
by my
anything
assertion
from you, but you
that
did,
we top-8'd.
You did top 8. In the meantime, little exchange of resources here. Voltaic Brawler there for Jensen, but it immediately gets Grasp of Darkness. And then follow-up play, not super exciting this turn. With the Diagraph Colossus, he's not going to get any +1/+1 counters, but oh boy, if he gets to untap with that thing, he could start spitting out zombies and see if Jensen has an answer for it.
And that's a good card against a deck like Pummeler that has not a ton of interaction.
Right.
The Pummeler deck does not have a lot of room for cards that don't pump your own creatures or are creatures themselves. So you can expect Diagraph Colossus to survive a good portion of the time, at which point you are going to get a lot of value.
Yeah, this could be really bad for Jensen as Dagen gets to untap with the Diagraph Colossus, as Jensen does not have an answer for it. And, I mean, Pierre could play, heck, he could play 2 more zombies here. Let's see what else he's got. Even just any 2-drop zombie would have him take his board from just a 2/2. Oh. He's got an If Near Deadlands. What else, though, for Pierre?
So he's deciding between casting Cryptbreaker, getting a zombie off of Diagraph Colossus, and then casting Dark Salvation, or just casting Dark Salvation with X = 1 in order to get a zombie off of that. But I think it's more profitable to cast the Cryptbreaker.
And that's exactly what he does. It gets him another 2/2 zombie because of the Colossus. And look at this board state that he's come up with. This was a 2/2 last turn. And now he's going to draw a card from the Cryptbreaker as well. And this cannot be good news for Jensen.
No, Pierre is in very good shape right now. And almost an insurmountable advantage given the fact that he's got to untap a Diagraph Colossus and add 4 zombies to his board here. No, that's a Liliana's Mastery.
Right, there we go. Dark Salvation here for Pierre. He's just going to cast it for 1. But Jensen does get to use a Blossoming Defense to save his Long Tusk Cub. He's a little all in on this Cub, though. It does look like it gets to hit this turn.
It is going to.
He can't 19 him, though.
No, the deck is designed to kill with Electrostatic Pummeler in 1 turn and sometimes use Fling plus some pump spells, but Jensen is significantly far away. This isn't actually Infect. It plays a little bit like Infect.
The modern deck?
Like the modern deck, but it is not quite as dangerous. So Long Tusk Cub, despite being a threatening card, it's not going to deal 19 in 1 turn.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult for Jensen to somehow pull out this race without the help of an Electrostatic Pummeler and some way to get some trample and a whole bunch going on here. He is going to nail him, though, with the Long Tusk Cub. Ooh, hello. there's an electrostatic pummeler now. Now that's really the only card that Pierre's scared of here, right?
That is an actual threatening card, and if William can find an invigorated rampage or a fling or some other way to get past blockers, then he might be able to actually just steal a game.
He's surveying the scene here as he does have multiple options with 5 mana available if he plays his land here, and on top of that, 2 Crypt Breakers, and he's actually just going to get assertive here, and he's going to go for the If Near Deadlands, targeting the Pummeler, but Jensen has another Blossoming Defense. Now, this is not a disaster, though, for Pierre, though, right? I mean, that Blossoming Defense is likely part of the equation to getting that Pummeler big enough to kill Pierre, and now Jensen has to use it on his turn when, he can't even attack with the Pummeler. And he's just going to pass the turn back, respecting the Pummeler quite a bit here.
And Harness Lightning, unfortunately, not the one in the red spell William Jensen was looking for. Invigorated Rampage being the key here. Because right now, William's not going to be able to get that Pummeler through. He doesn't have any way to grant it evasion. And basically, he has like maybe 2 turns to draw one of his outs, because otherwise Pierre, between Crypt Breakers and the fact that both players know he's got Liliana's Mastery in hand, he's going to be able to amass an army of zombies, a greater army, and finish Huey off.
That's right. Well, Jensen's going to send in with the Long Tusk Cub. He's got, is that 9 energy he's got?
He has 9 energy, so it's threatening to be a 6/6. And with Harness Lightning in hand, he's got opportunity for some more tricks, too. Pierre not too unhappy to grind some of William's energy down, because that makes that Pummeler a little less threatening.
And Jensen's going to go ahead and use up 6 of it to make the thing into a 3/3. Pierre's going to draw a card off of a Crypt Breaker before his 2 zombies bite the dust, but they will. And down they go.
Now that William's drawn Harness Lightning, he also has a little bit more of an option to play a controlling game by killing Diregraph Colossus and hoping that Pierre's follow-up isn't too brutal.
Now, he knows about the Liliana's Mastery. How much is that affecting the actual gameplay here from, like, Jensen's perspective? Because that was just, a misstep from Pierre. He just literally put the wrong card on the table.
I don't know that it's going to change what Jensen does that dramatically. He can't really play around it exactly. But it is for information, and it might be a tiebreaker. He might be a little... If anything, though, he'd be less likely to use Harness Lightning on Diregraph Colossus. So the fact that he's still using it means I don't think it changes a whole lot.
Not changing much, okay. Pierre got away with one there, it sounds like. Oh, boy. Pierre has the land he needs, and he can cast that Liliana's Mastery now if he'd like. He's got other options, though.
He's got a Fatal Push in hand, which is not bad, but currently can't kill the Electrostatic Pummeler. So he's got to be a little worried about losing to that. Though he does get to Fatal Push the Long Tusk Cub, and given that Williams already used 2 Blossoming Defenses, it's fairly likely to succeed.
He's just going to windmill the Liliana's Mastery here. It is going to give him 10 power on the board before passing the turn back here to Jensen. Another Pummeler off the top for Jensen represents 3 more energy. Though he still doesn't have the pump spells that he really wants here.
He doesn't. He's got a Hash Up Oasis sitting in play, but he needs, a way to give trample.
And he's got that Huey pose going now. For those of you that watch a lot of coverage, you'll be familiar with that one. He usually puts his hands on his forehead like that when he's deep in thought, trying to work through a complicated board state or situation. I tried doing that myself. It didn't really help that much. Bristling Hydra for Jensen. I mean, he's got a nice little board state going here, but Pierre has the Crypt Breaker thing going.
And given that Pierre's deck is all zombies or removal spells, it's kind of hard for him to miss unless he just draws 3 land in a row. So William's cards are all on the table. He is tapped out. The Cub currently is a 5/5 and can grow to an 8/8. So unsurprising that Pierre is not going to want to throw his board to deal with it, given that he's got Fatal Push in hand. But the question is, does Pierre want to chump or just take a big hit and give William a few more energy?
Says, well, you've got 2 cards, no mana.
Funny thing about the not like this emote that people use, the global emote, that's Ben SW.
Yeah.
Former coverage, one of the original GG's Live.
Yeah, I've been in the booth many times with Ben. He's been a little too busy working at Twitch these days to come out to too many Magic events, but I do love it when he makes it out.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Now more people know about him for that emote than anything else somehow, but he's also a really good Magic player and very involved in the Magic community at one point. Now he's not like this guy.
Yeah. Not like this.
Right.
So Pierre took a giant hit there, and I don't think he actually drew
There's that Fatal Push.
another land or another spell. So
Yeah, he hit Westvale Abbey. Is there any way we see Ormondal here?
it's not 0. Given the fact that Hugh's got decent ground defenders, it could happen. Though I think that Pierre is still going to be pretty happy riding these Crypt Breakers to victory.
Okay. I mean, I'm assuming that the green red deck just cannot deal with Ormondal in really any capacity. That is not the look of a face who's somebody who's happy. He's really trying to think about how he can get through. He drew Blossoming Defense for the turn, Luis.
And not the pump spell he was looking for. It's just not like this, you know?
We're getting the full lot like this. Chat, you know what to do.
So William's still in a position where he needs to draw something. Pierre doesn't really. The way the game is going, Pierre is going to pull ahead. But William has a couple of draw steps. Pierre's not getting particularly aggressive. Pierre's content to sit there and draw cards.
That's right. He has given Jensen a lot of time here. So he's going to play another Electrostatic Pummeler. And Pierre's going to say, hold on just 1 second there. Okay, you may have your 3 energy. Go to 8. Jensen has 3 different creatures that want to eat up 3 energy.
And 8's a somewhat unfortunate multiple, given that it only allows you to use Electrostatic Pummeler twice.
That's right.
But given the Blossoming Defense in hand, very possible that William could finish the game if he draws Fling or Invigorated Rampage.
Wow, look at this attack from Jensen. Sending in with both of his creatures, but banking that energy first. He must have run through all the iterations of blocks that Pierre could put up and decided that even in the worst case scenario, he was okay with clearing away a lot of this board. Maybe with an activation on the Bristling Hydra or a combination of Pump Spell plus an activation or 2 on the Pummeler.
The part I don't like about this game plan, the part that is Huey's probably not happy with either, is he's getting into an attrition battle against someone with an active Crypt Breaker. Usually does not work out well for you.
Yeah, that's right.
But I think one of the reasons he might be forced into this line is that the card you mentioned before, Westvale Abbey, turning into Ormondal is something that William does have to fear, and by trading off, he makes it less likely that Ormondal shows up.
Well, it looks like Pierre's just gone for single block, and it's in fact a chump block on the Hydra. Crypt Breaker's just a 2/2 here, so Jensen doesn't actually have to do anything about that if that ends up being the final block. Though, if he wants to save his pummeler, he will have to do something about that 3/3 zombie in front of it. And it looks like Pierre's actually going to go ahead and activate his Crypt Breaker to make a 2/2 zombie. This is before damage.
Crypt Breaker makes it pretty hard to flood out. You get to turn your lands into zombies, and
Yeah, Crypt Breaker's so good.
thanks to Liliana's mastery, Pierre has quite the formidable force himself.
He really does. Because even after this sequence, Jensen's either going to be down some energy or down a pump spell to save his pummeler if that's what he chooses to do. And Pierre still gets to activate the remaining Crypt Breaker to draw a card.
He actually has to be down both. If he uses Blossom Defense, he still has to use 3 energy, or his
Yep,
Electronic Pummeler will die to the 3/3 zombie.
that's right. It looks like Pierre is going to go ahead and activate his Crypt Breaker. And Jensen just had to run the chump attack there with the electrostatic pummeler. It's just going to die, but he does get to eat up one Crypt Breaker there. Yeah, that block situation turned out very nicely for Pierre. And Jensen just has to say go. Pierre on end step is going to make another 2/2 zombie, and he is really just going off at this point. He somehow gets to untap with more creatures than he did with before, even after chump blocking. And is he going to start turning them sideways?
I think now we actually see Pierre starting to attack and be less concerned about using Crypt Breaker's card draw ability.
Okay. He wants to set up something like a 2-turn clock here. Something along those lines.
And if he attacks for 9, that critically means that Ormondal Profane Prince finishes the last 9.
Mm-hmm. No, you know what? Pierre's still okay with just sitting back on that Crypt Breaker. It has worked well for him so far, though he is down to 7 somehow. Jensen finds yet another electrostatic pummeler.
He's looking for a card that costs 1 and a red. He wouldn't mind it being Invigorated Rampage. He wouldn't mind it being Fling. Either one of those cards, I think, is along the lines of what he needs to win the game. Larger than life, interesting as well.
He's got one of those.
He's got one of those.
Okay.
He also has 1 Ronus the Indomitable, but I don't know if he has time for that given the current makeup of this game.
Okay, there's that pummeler back up to 11 energy, but no attacks here from Jensen. So Pierre's going to start off by drawing a card off of the Crypt Breaker. That is going to drop him down to 6. And he's also going to make another zombie. Wow, it's hard to imagine that Crypt Breaker as a 1-drop is this dominant late in the game.
Yeah, it's created 3 zombie tokens and drawn Pierre, 5 extra cards?
Right.
Well, between the 2 Crypt Breakers, but still, it's
Pretty good investment of 1 mana just to enable all of these transactions. Now what's the plan here, Pierre? Feels like he can just kind of do it how he wants. Jensen pretty helpless here. I mean, Pierre's respecting the fact that that pummeler can get in for very large amount of damage, depending on what cards Jensen could have. But you got to feel like he wants to start shutting the door on this game here. It looks like he's got maybe an Amit Eternal in hand.
Pierre is taking his time.
He really is. Yeah, Jensen's just kind of patiently waiting, but Pierre plays pretty deliberately. He's not in a hurry. Metallic Mimic there for Pierre. Well, he wouldn't have minded that to kick off this procession, but hey. And once again, he's just going to pass the turn back. Ooh, that was larger than life.
It is larger than life. So
now wait just a second here.
So that makes a pummeler into a 5/5 trample.
Oh, Okay.
Double it to a 10-10, 20-20, 40-40.
What? And does he not still have the blossoming defense?
He has blossoming defense in hand, so
He does need to use that defensively, though.
so now
Jensen's not going to steal this game here, is he?
I think he is. Pierre has to find. If Pierre draws again, then
What?
then he actually could just die to the creatures Jensen has in play.
So he's desperately looking for a removal spell, but in reality he needs multiples, and that just resolved. And Jensen's attacking with everything.
And he can just pass. He doesn't need to do anything.
He actually just has lethal. What? Jensen wins the game. Just like he drew it up. I'm in shock.
William Jensen is larger than life. And
Look at Jensen. He's like, yeah. What? It's Friday. This is what I do. Wow. So we've got a lot of other action going on in the feature match area, which we will get you caught up on momentarily. But in just a few minutes, we need to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Always know the right play to make? Show off your skills at a local preliminary Pro Tour qualifier. With over 500 game stores worldwide running PPTQs, find an event near you at magic.wizards.com/PPTQ.
HasCon is happening September 8th through 10th in Providence, Rhode Island. HasCon will be hosting a Magic the Gathering Iconic Masters release event, 25th anniversary drafts, Magic spell slinging, and all your favorites from the world of Hasbro. Join the family. HasCon tickets on sale now.
And welcome back to the feature match area here in Kyoto. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe with Luis Scott Vargas. We had a furious finish to that first game on our main table. We're going to jump over to one of our side tables where we've got Adam Ragsdale playing Mono Black Zombies. That might look familiar to you. On the other side of the table, Blue White Flash in the hands of Yimin Ji from China. And it looks like he's a little behind here, Luis.
So, you mean cast Dusk Till Dawn last turn, killing all of Adam's creatures except for a lone Crypt Breaker, and zombies do what they do, and all of a sudden it's got a whole force again. Diregraph Colossus plus Relentless Dead.
That is no joke. And he even has Liliana's Mastery pumping up the team here. All right. G in a pretty tough spot. Ragsdale also up a game. So if he is able to finish this thing off, that would be the match going to him and improve him to 6-1.
I suspect he will be up 2 games in a matter of moments here.
Yeah, it does seem like he's about to shut things down. Just a Knight token on the side for G, so tough spot for him. Dagen and Jensen still getting set on our main table. You can keep an eye on that in the upper right if you prefer. We'll be going up there again once they're ready, don't worry. I still can't believe that finish on that game.
I think Pierre played a bit too conservatively, and
Drew a lot of cards.
he did draw a lot of cards. But the problem is Huey's best top decks, which he has 4 rampages, 1 larger than life, 2 flings, all kind of invalidate almost anything Pierre could be doing. So Pierre not putting pressure on Huey let him draw one of those cards, and he did.
Got a match update for you here. Eric Severson from the United States just defeated Makihiro Mahara from Japan. That's Black-Green Constrictor defeating Red-Green Ramp. Mahara's own brew of it. It's a little different than the one you've seen earlier in the feature match in the hands of some of the Team Puzzle Quest players. As you can see, though, Puzzle Quest, they brought a bunch of different decks to the table here. I don't think they really settled on a team deck this time around. So you see Jensen playing Pummeler. You see Ben Rubin, for example, playing Red-Green Ramp. Some of them are on mono red. Couldn't decide. Is that Gisela there? Well, Adam's just going to lay out 2 nevers and say, kill your things, kill you. Assuming that's what's happening here.
Yeah, that is game, and I believe match.
And is G just showing him all the cards he could have drawn to help get himself out of this mess?
It looks like it.
He had a Fumigate, Descend Upon the Sinful sitting in there somewhere too. None of it mattered, though. The Canadian, Adam Ragsdale, rags to riches, wins 2-0, and he's 6-1 now.
Yeah, a winner is him.
That leaves another match in our feature match area still going. Is Teruya Kakume. He's playing against Sam Black. Both of these players are 6-0, by the way. Teruya, of course, is on Team Musashi, and Sam Black is on Team Mutiny. And you know what? Sam won. So Sam Black, with that absurd, super sweet draft deck, went 3-0.
Oh, yeah, that looked pretty sweet.
Yeah, and now he's off to a fantastic start in the tournament overall at 7-0. With just another round to go today. So great stuff from Sam Black from Team Mutiny. But it looks like we're just about ready to get things going again here on our main table. Yep, looks like they're all set. So let's get underway again here. This is William Huey Jensen versus Pierre Dagen. And Huey somehow took the first game down by attacking with 3 creatures. He had the ability to attack with a 40-40 with Trample. Didn't need to.
He actually, yeah, as it turned out, Pierre went so deep looking for a removal spell that he actually just died to the creatures on board, though he was dead either way.
Right. It obviously would have been way sweeter if he said block with 6 creatures and Huey's like, sure, kill you anyway. But that's just for us in the booth and you at home. Less important to the players how they win, just important that they win. In the meantime, a nice little 1-2 here for Pierre.
Yeah, Gifted Etherboard, a nice little sideboard option that gives him Death Toucher to block and not really care about pump spells.
Yeah, you look at the cards like Bristling Hydra on the other side of the battlefield, which can be really difficult to remove given the activated ability on the card because it gives it hexproof, but you get a card like Gifted Etherborn out and you can just say block, pump spell away. Now, it doesn't work on the one attack kill you plan if it can give it trample, but otherwise it works quite well. So it seems like a solid sideboard plan. And let's see if, oh wow, Jensen really brought in the removal package. He's played a Braid and Magma Spray to take out the Diagraph Colossus as well as that Gifted Etherborn that you mentioned a second ago, Luis. So Jensen kind of switching roles here. He looks like he's a little bit more in the control seat.
Yeah, he brought in a fair amount of removal spells, and yeah, they're serving him quite well here. So now he has to decide if he wants to take out Cribbreaker or to second gift to Etherborn, and my inclination is to take out the Etherborn.
Why is that?
He's got
He has no threats right now.
Well, William's about to play a Bristling Hydra, and that's going to give him a good amount of pressure. He now has to decide whether he wants to spend an energy on Ether Hub or lose a life on Oasis if he plays the Hydra. But
Okay, well, it looks like his choice was kill both.
he ended up drawing the second Harness Lightning, which made that a
Right.
little bit easier. And he's actually whittled Pierre down to just all lands and a Dreadwander, it looks like.
Jensen's going to cycle a land away there. And he's going to play that Bristling Hydra. Thanks to the forest, he can actually leave up Hashep Oasis as well if he needs to use it
He's
for
actually,
his Blossoming Defense. But now he's just straight up ahead, right?
yeah, now he just looks like Teamer Energy. Just
Yeah.
kill your thing, kill your thing, kill your thing, kill your thing. Attack with a Bristling Hydra here.
Oh, and there's Ronus the Indomitable, too, for Jensen. So this game playing out so much differently than the first. He is just on a rampage. And the best that Pierre can do is bring back a Dread Wanderer. He's going to take 9 minimum here.
And William has a Chandra, so he gets to add to his board even more.
This draw has been perfect for Jensen. Kill your thing, kill your thing, kill your thing. Put out 2 huge threats that you don't really interact very well with. And a Planeswalker on top of it. Jensen on the rampage here, looking to go 6-1. And that does it. Wow, that was so much different than the first game. And you get a bit of a smile out of Jensen there. And why not? He's 6-1 at the Pro Tour with just one more round to go. He 3-0'd his draft, lost 1 round here in Standard. But for the rest of them, well, he came out ahead. And with just 1 more to go, it's a great start for Jensen, who, we mentioned it before, is on quite a heater, having won a team GP with the Peach Garden Oath, his 3-person team, and then won an individual GP last weekend here in Kyoto. Fantastic stuff for him. It's always fun to watch Huey tear through a field of unsuspecting Magic players as he works his way through. Well, that is going to do it for round 7 action. That means, of course, that we have 1 more round of Standard to bring you today. We'll be here for that. But first, some messages. We'll see you in a bit.
Welcome back to the news desk. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're in the competition for Draft Master or Standard Master. Either way, if you're going to complete the course, you have to play on day 1 and day 2. To do that, you must have a 4-4 record or better overall. Right now, Travis Wu is at 3-4. He's 3 points behind for Draft Master, but he will not get to draft tomorrow unless he wins his last round. Similar position in the Standard Master, several players are up against it, trying to come back tomorrow, because every win tomorrow in Standard, whatever their overall record, counts just the same as any other. But first, they must be at 4-4. Kelvin Chu was 2-4. One last round, now he has to win again. And someone else has a huge match coming up. Let's find out who in the company of Brian David Marshall.
Thanks, Rich. I'm here with Stephen Haddow. Stephen, tell me about what's happening here. You're in a weird position where you're still alive for the Constructed Master title, but you need to win this next round coming up.
Exactly. I'm fighting for my survival in this tournament. I'm at 3-4 currently, so the next win would help me achieve the goals.
That lets you continue to play 4-4 is what you need to advance to day 2. You had a pretty interesting round last round. Tell us about what happened.
Well, it was actually 2 rounds ago, and I was leading 1-0 against opponent playing mono red, and in the second game he played the red escalate spell, killing my Grimflater, dooming me for 3, and making me cycle my hand, which I'm not used to. It does not come up too often. So we went through the motions, forgot to put the Grimflater into the graveyard. I untap, I attack with the Grimflayer that shouldn't be there. We go through the Grimflayer motion, then we notice it, call the judge, and the way the rules unfortunately work is that since too much has happened, the judge left the game state as is. That's how the rules work. Obviously, I'm not happy with that ruling, which favors me and gives me lethal, which I shouldn't have. So I just scoop up the cards, because I think the game needs to be played fair. And just because of a weird, or the way the rules work sometimes in your favor or disfavor, you should not exploit it, even though it was an accident. So that's what happened. And karma was with me, so I won the third game in a fair way.
Okay, well, that's pretty impressive, Stephen. Obviously a lot on the line, but you did the right thing. For how you felt, even though it was within the rules, you want to do that. What's the team situation look like for you guys? You were kind of on the really outskirts looking in of the team series. You guys were in 6th or 7th place.
Yeah, we have a pretty rough day so far. We have 2 players doing well. That's Patrick Dickman and Mark Tobias. For the rest, we got paired against each other, so 2 players actually, only one was left. Now we still have 2 players in range who could meet each other. Yeah, let's hope we get through the day, but always one game at a time.
Always one game at a time, trying to get through to day 2. Stephen Haddow, good guy here for Team Eureka.
Thanks. Yeah, he really is a great guy, Steve, and best of luck to him in his pursuit of day 2, at which point, Maria, he then has this super weird morning of kind of playing the most casual of all conceivable Pro Tour drafts that ever been. At 4-4, you're kind of like, oh, look, a foil land, I'll have that, thanks. And hey, maybe I'll get that Remanat Ruin signed by the table and so on. then in the afternoon, the gloves come off. And it's like the most important match of Magic of my life. Standard Master is getting super tight. We've got some results coming in, Maria. Why don't we just walk through a few that we see as we're sort of checking in, results coming in. Hatto lost to Chris Fennell at 4-3. Would need a long margin to get himself all the way to the top 8. There you see the current version of our overall scoreboard. Now, there are going to still be results coming in there. But more results. What else have we got, Maria?
All right, Kelvin Chu has a win, moving to 3-4. Again, he must win his next round again to come back and battle on day 2.
Yeah, and he is within range of the Standard Master. He's on 72 points right now. Indeed, at 3-1, he's doing fine in Standard.
Yes.
But it was the morning draft that handicapped him, so now here he is having to win that match in round 8. So what else is coming in?
All right, we've got Sebastian Pozzo. He also won his match, improves to 5-2 on 78 points.
Right, now he was 1-2 in draft, but he has done nothing but win. Started at 66 points in Standard Master, 69, 72, 75, 78. He will either lead on his own, depending on the result of Sean McLaren. But Pozzo has really raced up the table. Who else?
Li Shitian is another player we are watching. He also won, improving to 5-2, moving up to 76 points.
Right, so within a round of Standard Master lead, that's very big for MTG Mint Card, because someone we thought we'd be watching was Yuya Watanabe,
yes.
But he's really kind of falling off the pace.
Yeah, he kind of got knocked out of the race a little bit early.
So he's at 3-4, and a huge result for him coming up. Not so much for Standard Master, but Team Masashi a little bit under the gun. Only one player over 500 coming into this round, and they're starting to lose players. Remember, at this last Pro Tour of the season, every point for all 6 players count, which is really huge. He lost to Brent Eady of the United States. But why don't we take a look at our overall scoreboard for you? Again, more results coming in, so it's closer to an end of round reflection. And Maria, coming into this round, we had a bunch of 6-0s, and several of them we didn't know too much about. You've done a little bit of digging.
Yes,
what do
indeed.
we know?
Well, we found out a little bit about these players. Louis Bachaud of France is 20 years old, 16 lifetime pro points. He's played in 19 GPs, but this is his first Pro Tour, qualified via an RPTQ. He's got a pretty good win rate of 61% since he started playing in 2014. Yusuke Sasabe from Japan, 27-year-old, 5 lifetime pro points. He was the top finisher at GP Shizuoka. He finished 4th, he's played in 12 GPs. This is his first Pro Tour as well. Needs 12-4 for silver. Tyler Schroeder of the US, 26 years old. He also qualified via an RPTQ. It's his second Pro Tour. His first was Ether Revolt in Dublin, where he finished a respectable 9-7.
Yeah, it is so hard. Look, you know, we go back and we look at what people's first Pro Tour experience was, and the number of 0-4 drops, 1-7s, 2-6s, 3-5s, that is overwhelmingly your first Pro Tour result. So anytime, 9-7 doesn't sound that great. It's kind of like 3-2 at F&M. No, it isn't. 9-7 at your first PT is a really big deal. And that kind of marks out Tyler Schroeder as someone to watch out for. It's not a surprise to see him kicking on now at 6-1. All 3 of those, though, sadly lost. They went from 6-0 to 6-1. Right now, 3 players at 7-0, but I think we may well get more than that as the scoreboard updates. A couple more on the scoreboard. Elias Watsfeld is 6-1 as we head down the stretch of there. But I believe it's deck time. Deck tech time. Maria, who have we got?
All right, we've got Paul over at our video wall with Brennan DeCandio.